All right, let's get into it. Today, we are talking about one of the coolest and, frankly, most important advancements in AI right now, Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or as pretty much everyone calls it, RAG. The simplest way to think about it, it's like we're giving our AI a library card, but this library is updated every single second. So, how does this work and why is it such a massive deal? Let's find out. So, you've probably run into this, right? You ask a chatbot about something that just happened, maybe a sports game or some breaking news, and you get that classic non-answer. It's a super common frustration, and it's because these incredible AI models have one big catch. Their knowledge is basically frozen in time, locked to the date their training ended. And this slide just nails the difference. I mean, it's night and day. On the left, you've got your standard AI, basically saying, sorry, can't help ya, its knowledge is stuck. But on the right, a RAG-powered model just goes out, grabs the latest info, and gives you a useful, up-to-the-minute answer. It is a complete game changer for making AI actually useful in the real world. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll dig into the big problem that LLMs have. Then, we'll see how RAG is the solution, using a really simple analogy. We'll also look at how RAG itself has grown up, compare it to another technique you've probably heard of called fine-tuning, and then we'll wrap it all up with why this matters so much. Okay, so let's start at the beginning, the core challenge. As amazing as large language models are, they are not perfect, and they have some very specific blind spots that RAG was literally invented to fix. When you really get down to it, LLMs have three main weaknesses. First, there's hallucination, which is just a fancy way of saying they sometimes make stuff up. It sounds right, but it's factually wrong. Second, like we said, their knowledge gets stale fast. And third, they're kind of a black box. It's incredibly hard to figure out why they gave you an answer, which means you can't check their work. And that leads us right to the solution, RAG. Honestly, the best way to get your head around RAG is to think of it like an open book exam. Instead of forcing the AI to memorize the entire internet, we just let it look up the answers when it needs them. So the official definition is that Retrieval-Augmented Generation connects an LLM to some kind of external knowledge base. Now, this could be anything, your company's internal documents, a database of medical research, or even the live chaotic internet. It's the perfect marriage. You get the AI's incredible reasoning ability combined with a library of facts that's always current. Let's walk through the most basic version, which folks in the field call naive RAG. It's a pretty straightforward three-step dance. Step 1. Indexing. You take all your documents, chop them up into smaller pieces, and organize them in a special database. Think of it like creating the card catalog for your library. Step 2. Retrieval. When you ask a question, the system zips through that library and pulls out the most relevant snippets of info. And finally, Step 3. Generation. It bundles up your original question and those useful snippets it just found and hands the whole package to the LLM to write a coherent, fact-based answer. Simple, right? But you know, that simple three-step process, that was just the beginning. RAG is moving incredibly fast, and it's gotten a whole lot more sophisticated since those early days. You can really see the evolution of RAG in three big stages. It started with that naive RAG, the simple retrieve-read idea. Then, developers got clever and created advanced RAG, which adds extra steps before and after the retrieval to get much, much better results. And that brings us to today, which is really the era of modular RAG. This is where things get really flexible and powerful. This table gives us a great snapshot. Naive RAG was the proof of concept. Advanced RAG made it better by optimizing the search and then double-checking the results. But modular RAG, that's where it gets wild. It treats the whole process like a set of Lego bricks. You can swap in different search modules, add a memory component so the chatbot remembers what you talked about 5 minutes ago, or even build a smart router that sends a question to the best possible data source. It's all about building the exact right tool for whatever job you're trying to do. Now, you've probably heard of another way to juice up AI models called fine-tuning. So where does RAG fit in? How is it different? This is a really important distinction to understand. I love this analogy. RAG is like giving the AI a textbook. It can look up facts whenever it needs to, which is perfect for tasks where accuracy and being up to date are everything. Fine-tuning, on the other hand, is more like sending the AI to school. It deeply learns a particular skill or style, like how to write in Shakespearean English, but you have to completely retrain it to teach it anything new. And here's the key. They're not competitors. The most powerful AI systems actually use both. They fine-tune the model to get the style right, and then use RAG to get the facts right. Okay, So we've gone through what RAG is, how it works, and how it's getting better all the time. But let's pull the camera back. What's the real-world impact here? Why does any of this actually matter? When you boil it all down, the benefits of RAG are huge. It makes AI answers way more accurate and trustworthy because they're based on actual data. This drastically cuts down on those weird hallucinations. It lets you keep the AI's knowledge base fresh without having to do a full, expensive retraining every time. And my personal favorite, it gives you traceability. The AI can actually cite its sources. And look, don't just take my word for it. This quote from the research paper sums it up perfectly. RAG is a promising solution because it boosts the accuracy and credibility of what the AI generates. It makes the AI more reliable, and when you're using these tools for important work, reliability is everything. And that leads us to a really fascinating forward-looking question people in the field are debating right now. AI models are starting to have these gigantic context windows, meaning they can read and process millions of words all at once. So, if you can just feed an entire library into the AI's prompt to begin with, do you even need a system like RAG to go find information? It's a great question, but many experts think that for speed, cost, and that all-important traceability, RAG is definitely here to stay. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. The goal isn't just to make an AI that's a know-it-all. The goal is to build an AI that's grounded in reality, an AI that we can actually trust, one that doesn't just give us an answer, but can show us how it got there. And that, right there, is the true promise of RAG. Thanks so much for joining me.